Horus Heresy is a fantastic game. Many people coming into the system, new system, saying it's the best war game they've ever played. Me, I think it's probably the best rule system Games Workshop have ever written. The rules are written from the ground up with the narrative in mind, with the story in mind. And when you're playing Horus Heresy, that's exactly what you want. There's a couple more things I can point out about the success of the game system. So successful, you can only buy half of the models at any one point. They keep selling out of all the things all the time. And the number of new players trying out the game system for the first time, maybe through word of mouth, or maybe because it's been about 1.5 years now, maybe 2 years, and they're finally put an army together and they're playing it for the first time, they've got nothing but praise. It's a stark contrast between all the positivity that I hear from the Horus Heresy community versus the 40k community. It is really, really good, and you should try it if you haven't tried it already. It is really good. And that's why I wanted to make this video, because change will be coming at some point. Games Workshop will make Heresy 3.0, and I'm horrified they will screw it up and we'll get a new edition every 3 years, and then there'll be balanced data slates every 3 months, and then you have to chase the dragon in that game system as well as chase the dragon in the 40k system. And the Heresy players, we love the stability. We love the fact that you can plan an army, spend 2 years building up to that army, that force, that faction, that loadout, that force organization, these models, and it's still the thing that you planned 2 years previously. It's the stability is one of the things that makes it so good. The core rules are still the core rules, the points are still the points, but what will the future bring, and what do I want to see for the future of Horus Heresy 2.0, and what do you want to see as well 3.0? Write it in the comment section below. So, the future of Heresy. Before we change anything, the first thing that we need to see is all the miniatures in the book released. And I don't mean released in resin, I mean released in plastic. Let's have some nice plastic kits. Most importantly, there are like 7 or 8 troop choices in the main rule book. 4 of them are compulsory. They're the line ones that you take in your compulsory slot, and we still don't have plastic kits for breaches and despoilers. I know you can make breaches and despoilers sort of with a bit of kit bashing out of the assault marine kit, but really we need those 4 key boxes in plastic, and as well as the heavy weapon sprue and the specialist weapon sprue with the melter and the plasma, it'd be nice to have a close combat weapon sprues as well. We need the basic things as soon as possible before we move forward with any of the other things. Do you like playing World Eaters? Oh yes, I do like playing World Eaters. Would you like lots of World Eater despoilers with chain axes? Yes, I would like lots of World Eater despoilers with chain axes. It's one of the base units that World Eaters should really have. Well, you can't have them. It blows my mind that Games Workshop are promoting a game system and models for something that you can only get from them, and they're not selling it to their audience. I know they have production issues. I know they're building another factory. Hopefully this will all be sorted out eventually. I suspect with Old World coming online, now they have 2 base fantasy systems and 2 base sci-fi systems. I suspect that they just really can't keep up. And the market is there for the Heresy models. That's why they keep selling out of stuff. So if we could have the stuff before we move to the new stuff. Thank you. Then we get to Heresy 3.0, and I'm looking at this rule system thinking I'd be afraid to touch it. Whoever did the reactions, whoever came up with that idea, they deserve a raise. And this rule system is an evolution of the core rule system that was Warhammer 40k for many decades, which is the core, the foundation on which they grew the success of their business. So it's got a proven track record, but the core rules aren't broke and don't need fixing. When you're playing the game, it feels like a fully interactive war game, and that's what you want. There's pinning and immobilizations and sweeping advances, and sometimes you lose control of your army and then have to adapt to changing situations. Meanwhile, horrible things happen to your opponent as well, and how do you overcome them? The way the points work with the old school force organization chart, that's part of the glory of the hobby as well. Having those discussions with your friends. 40k has missed some of that with the new point system that they have there. But the way you go about building your force in Heresy means the narrative starts, the story starts right at the list building stage. It's lovely. Okay, now it's clunky. It could be laid out a little bit better, and I'm not naive enough to think that Games Workshop won't tweak a few things, but I would say tweak the minimum things. Deep Strike feels a bit strong, the way you can string out all over the place. Maybe second units have to be wholly within 12 of the first unit rather than strung all the way down the other side of the battle grid. Maybe you could introduce a couple more rights of war. There doesn't seem to be one for like Masters of the Legion or something. A right of war where you, instead of taking 3 HQs, you could take 5 HQs with veterans as troops. Something like that. But when you're talking about near perfection, a masterpiece that has been crafted over the decades, that is loved by the community that plays it, you'll be very careful. A few little tweaks here or there. Maybe change the layout so it's more, the layout's a bit of a mess. And then the updates and the fixes go into the codexes. There's a couple of units that are a little bit broken, like Phalanx Warders. They're a bit broken. Phalanx Blades, rending on a 4-up for World Eaters. They're a bit... Lots of the fixes that you can do for the units, for the weapons, for the stuff and the things, you could put in Codex 3.0 or 2.0 or whatever it will be at the time. Leave the core rules or just tweak them a little bit. Release all the models from the codexes and then come out with the next wave. We can see Boxnaut Dreadnoughts including into here. We can see other new units included in this book. Sell us more plastic from the wider range of Horus Heresy. Give us more toys, more options, more rights of war, more things to play with. While 40k has this constantly changing, constantly evolving ecosystem, I wouldn't want to bring that kind of thinking across the Horus Heresy. I think that would be a grave error. I'd want to have different rule systems for different things, different experiences, different ecosystems. That's where you attract different gamers, different people, more money. Anyway, that's the two things I would do so far. Release the models that we need. Don't touch the rule system that we love. Maybe tweak it a little bit, tidy up some of the presentation. And then the third thing I would do in order to make Games Workshop billions of pounds, if I was running Games Workshop, would be to release Codex Xenos in Horus Heresy. Controversial opinion here, but guys, how many people have you spoken to who would say, I'd play Horus Heresy if only I could stick my Eldar in it. I'd play Horus Heresy if only I could stick my Orcs in it. If they released a book like this called Codex Xenos, and inside was a craft world section, and they could write it along the lines that they wrote the Demons PDF from the Imperial point of view. There were still real space raids going on. There were still craft worlds going on during the Great Crusade and during the time of the Horus Heresy. They could have a section in here for Eldar. They could have a section in here for Orcs. They could have a section in here with new models, Mega Arachnids from Murder. They would sell by the bucket load. And you could have a section in the back called Exoplanar Xenos. Demons, basically, because most of the people at the Heresy, most of the Space Marines at the Heresy didn't know what demons were. Oh yes, they're just other Xenos from another dimension somewhere. And you could stick the PDF rules for the rules of the Ruin Storm in here. Rules for playing Xenos in Games of Horus Heresy. That's a controversial opinion. What do you think of that one? Anyway, those are my 3 things that I would do for the future of Horus Heresy. What do you think? What would you do? Please write in the comment section below. Let's get this conversation started. And thanks for listening to this video. Happy wargaming.